What's up, fellow campers? Hope you're having a good day, because I am not. I'm not gonna lie. I am very disappointed with Bethesda right now. So I've been working for almost 2 weeks on this epic 45-minute video on how to actually make use of public workshops and protect your claim. I gave you guys a hint about that in my recent Grief or Revenge video. I'll explain why I'm pissed in a second, but claiming public workshops in Fallout 76 used to be worthwhile. Not only does claiming a public workshop give you early building plans in the game, but they're an excellent source of collecting materials and resources you might be running low on, from their available ore deposits and other options like food and ammo and stuff. However, the biggest problem with public workshops is their ability to be contested by other players. In the video I had planned to release tomorrow, I was going to show you guys how to creatively encapsulate any red workbench and make it a major deterrence for griefers to try and claim your workshop. That way you could stick around and actually make use of it. Because let's be honest here, there's absolutely no other reason to try and claim someone else's workshop unless you want to pick a fight. If you really badly need the resources from a very particular workshop location, and it's already claimed, you can just arrive at the location, log out, and log back in, and you'll be put onto a server where it's open for claiming. It takes you all of a few minutes to do that without wasting any of your time, ammo, grenades, or having to repair anything after a fight. So there is literally zero reason to contest someone else's workshop claim unless you're specifically a griefer. Since getting the building plans from Workshop are random, and they're not even that good kind of building plans that you're supposed to buy from vendors, you can get building plans from any other unclaimed workshop or completion event. It doesn't have to be that workshop another player is using. So let's not be coy about this. Gaming bullies want to pick on other players, and claiming a workshop in Fallout 76 is the only way to disable the restrictions on PvP mode. Well, the reason I'm so pissed at Bethesda right now is because they included a totally unnecessary tweak in the February 19 patch. They made it so you can now claim a workshop without actually having to interact with the workshop itself. I can't describe to you how stupid of a decision that was. It was stupid from multiple angles too. From an out-of-game perspective, it completely disincentivizes regular gamers who just want to play the game normally without the stress of getting killed by other players. You can get resources in a multitude of other ways, so it makes workshops worthless if you actually have a chance of losing caps and all that junk you can accumulate if you just get set upon by another high-level player in the process. And again, let's be honest, it's only the higher-level players who are picking on the lower-level players. Unless a gang of griefers gets ambitious or something, most bullies never pick on someone their own size, right? The tweak also makes no sense from an in-game perspective either. So what can happen now is that you can sneak up and hide behind a rock just inside the outer boundaries and claim the workshop without the current owner even knowing where you are. You just have to hold down the workshop button on whatever platform you're using. In a matter of moments, all their turrets become yours. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead, think about the settlements in that show, like Alexandria or Hilltop, for example. Imagine Negan's gang, or now the Whisperers, walking up to the gate of a big fence perimeter and going, "Hi, we just claimed your settlement from that bush over there. We don't need to come inside or anything, we already claimed it, so just hand it over or all those turrets we hacked are gonna turn on you. We can teleport inside the walls now because we own your fast travel mat, and we can even take that gate and vanish it because it's ours now. Oh, and don't bother trying to open the doors you locked in there. If you unlock your own doors, other bounty hunters will find you and kill you. So I could have done this from my hammock." Whatever, Bethesda. This was a dumb move, and you only did it to appease a small but vocal minority of griefers on Reddit and your forums. However, I checked Reddit, and there are actually more people outraged by this. There's so many outrageous bugs and glitches that needed to be fixed in the game, it's crazy you would focus on things that aren't even broken. Now, some people might say, well, I like to fight other players. It doesn't mean I'm a griefer. See, this is the identity crisis that's plagued Fallout 76 from the start. Bethesda tried to make like a turducken of a game to appease all demographics. People loved Fallout games because of the story, adventure, and role-playing aspects, and most recently building. So yes, to your traditional fan base, players trying to kill innocent players is seen as griefing. If it were a Street Fighter game or something, it wouldn't be called griefing, it would be expected. It would be like if Starbucks started selling pizza Happy Meals or something. Sure, they could do it if they wanted, it's their business. They could do anything they want, right? And it is a cafe of sorts. But wouldn't you agree that Starbucks fans might be pissed? They come in for that delicious coffee aroma in a relatively tranquil environment. Now suddenly they smell grease and have all these obnoxious kids running around screaming. Got nothing against kids, of course. I used to be a teacher. I'm just making the point that some things just don't mix well, and you can't just wildly expand your customer base for sheer profit without losing what people originally came for. Branding doesn't work that way. Now, I actually praised Bethesda's handling of the PvP restrictions from the outset of the game. In fact, I had an entire change of heart over the last couple of months, and I was honestly trying to see the best in the game. Not because I was lacking content. I could easily stick with only Fallout 4 content as well as Ubisoft games and such. So it's got nothing to do with shilling for Bethesda. But Bethesda, you are making it harder and harder to like your game when you keep breaking things that aren't broken and not fixing the things that are broken. Priorities, guys. I could list a couple dozen things about the game that are in desperate need of fixing that still haven't been fixed yet. This arbitrary tweak to public workshops, as well as making the player icons shine over the workshop like a blinking billboard, only does one thing. It makes it easier for the griefers to find and kill innocent lower level players. Or gang up on them if they're not in a team and a group of players is. It's just plain ridiculous. All this footage I'm showing you was part of the video I had planned to show you guys how you could protect your claim from griefers by encapsulating the workshop in creative ways and forcing griefers to become wanted if they wanted to harass you. That was the smart and clever play. The way to turn lemons into lemonade. Now there's no hope. And I don't want to sound arrogant or something or vain, but I've been going around for the last couple of weeks testing out all these features in the game, at different workshops, as well as showing that griefer video where I snuck up behind the guy and threw the grenades. Well, those are two fixes that suddenly appeared in this patch, You can no longer encapsulate the workshop to protect it, and now people can hear the pin being pulled from the grenade, if you're a sneaky character. So it's like, I don't want to put two and two together and say they did this because of me, but it's just a really weird coincidence that those two tweaks that weren't even broken now show up in this recent patch, Isn't it weird? Here's the problem the game faces, okay? All the normal players aren't speaking up on Reddit and the forums, Most normal players have kind of given up on the game. The ones who are being vocal on Reddit and Bethesda's forums are the ones who want to turn the game into Fortnite, Rust, or GTA 5 Online or whatever. What we need are the role players and story fans to speak up on the forums and tell them what they can do to bring back normal players. In the meantime, I'm calling on everyone seeing this video to boycott claiming workshops in the game. Now, I'm not saying boycott the game itself. I really do still see potential in the game. I don't know. Maybe I'm in denial. I know haters of the game will say that. I am, because they're constantly asking why I'm still even playing the game for the channel. But for a time, I did see hope. And I'm literally one of only a handful of YouTube channels that still produces actual game content on Fallout 76, and doesn't just report on their foibles. However, my patience is wearing thin on the game. There have been a lot of stability improvements in the game, which is why I even bothered with public workshops in the first place. It used to be I'd claim a workshop and within 45 minutes or so, and I'd get involuntarily disconnected from the server and all that work went to waste. But after the last couple of patches, I was able to stay on for several hours without getting disconnected, and that made public workshops worth pursuing. Thus, the epic video I had planned. Now, it's not about the video. Sure, I wasted 2 weeks on a video, but videos come and go. It's about the longevity of the game and whether anyone is going to be left playing the game other than griefers. Bethesda should be moving all the griefers over to PvP-only servers and letting the people who enjoy the gameplay, exploration, and building in the game to be left alone. You know what I mean? Anyway, if anyone seeing this video boycotts public workshops, then they'll become useless ghost towns and griefers will be denied the joy of killing innocent players. Bethesda will eventually get the message and move this dumb new rule to the PvP-only servers. In fact, there's no reason why workshops can't be claimed uncontested for the duration of a player's game session. There are enough workshops on the map, times the amount of servers available, times the number of platforms, that there's almost an infinite amount of possibilities if you just really need that aluminum deposit or whatevs. And player sessions usually only last a few hours. In fact, Bethesda could even make a 6-hour limit on a workshop. That would even be necessary, but I don't think it is. Anyway, you guys should try and pass this video around to all your friends so they'll join the boycott. Again, I'm not saying boycott the game itself. I mean, do that if you want, it's your choice. I'm still going to be playing the game, but the only Fallout 76 content I'm going to be featuring from now on is build videos or suggestion videos. But the reason I suggested sharing this video with your friends was not just because it helps the channel, but because if the only players who don't join the boycott are newbies, then griefers will just go after the newbies. And they'll be too new to the game to know how to defend themselves, and they'll just rage quit the game for good. That does the game no favors. The only way this will work is if we just deny the bullies their free targets. Now, griefers will still attack other players. Nothing's going to stop that. But now, at least they get wanted through the normal channels. Workshops were the only mechanism to disable that feature except for hunted radio. See, that's the thing that boggles my mind. If Bethesda wanted to encourage more infighting, why not create PvP zones in the game where you could play King of the Hill or whatever? Why tie it into the valuable resource extractors, which actually had an in-game purpose? And there was already a mechanism for basic hunting, which was the radio station. They just keep nerfing things that don't need to be fixed. Duping, of course, nobody's going to argue with that. That needed badly to be fixed. But this doesn't make any sense. So spread the word so naive players don't fall into the trap that griefers will set for them. The people who like the game and want to see it improve for the better need to be more vocal, or else Bethesda will just keep catering to the lowest common denominator. Anyway, I don't want to leave the video on a sour note, so I have two very cool things to show you real quick. First, I finally saved up enough caps to buy the signs and letters plans from a vendor. I happen to be at the top of the world station, but they appear randomly at other vendors too. They're very expensive plans, one of the most expensive in the game actually, but I saved up the caps completely fairly just through grinding away. The original price is pretty crazy, but if you max out the hard bargain perk and then pop some great mentats, you can usually get them down into the 9,000 range. So boom, I can now start adding neon to my buildings, woohoo! Secondly, not every random player who drops by your workshop or camp is going to be a griefer, of course. I complain about griefers, of course, because, well, they're griefy. But once in a while, you meet someone extra cool, and I wanted to give this guy a shout out in a video because he swung by and gave me one of the coolest things I've ever gotten in the game as a gift so far. Actually, a couple of exceptionally cool things that I totally wasn't expecting. So here I am, or was, going to show you how I built up and protected my claim at the Gorge Junkyard as an example of one of the places in the video among like a half a dozen I was going to show you. And a player shows up wanting to trade. I'm always leery of trading with other players at public workshops because a lot of times they're just sizing you up to see if you're easy prey, you know what I mean? In fact, that's what inspired me to make that video in the first place. But I gave this guy the benefit of the doubt and I requested a few things in trade, including his 2-shot explosive handmade rifle, also his healing factor serum. Never hurts to ask, right? I mean, all he had to say was no. Unbelievably, he gave them to me for free. He then later dropped a few more items that were extremely useful. So a huge shout out to Jacob Bolin, or Jacob Rules 15 as his gamer tag is. The handmade rifle is now my favorite gun in the game, and he assured me it wasn't duped. I believe him too because it didn't vanish after the last patch. And the healing factor serum has allowed me to free up a bunch of chems that I no longer need and, you know, free up that space for other junk. So thanks again, Jacob. You rule, pun intended. We need more players like you in the Wasteland who generally want to make it a fun and friendly environment for the community by being helpful instead of antagonistic. And if you see him out in the Wasteland, be sure to give him a thumbs up. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking out this video. Hit that like button and subscribe for more great content. Also, join the Student Council over on Patreon because starting in March, I'm going to be offering Fallout 76 perks to the various tiers. Things like in-game content, building plans, team build-ups, all sorts of things. I wanted to strike on Fallout 76 while the iron was hot, but that glow keeps dimming little by little, so I'm going to start rotating back in some Fallout 4 content as well as other games that I normally feature on the channel, so be sure to stick around for that. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.